Hey everybody, this is Zachary Jeans, and let's keep walking through the Bible. So today is day 99, and thank you so much for joining us on this little journey through the Bible. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to go through the whole Bible, and not just a kind of a so-so reading plan, but like actually getting in, looking at stuff. So I appreciate you, and I know that God is loving you and appreciative of what you're doing with his word and with your relationship with him, and it all comes out of drawing near to him, and he'll draw near to you. So let's do that in prayer real quick here. Lord, I won't make a long prayer, but God, I just love you, and I say thank you for this word and this day. I thank you that you promised to come and you came. Thank you for promising to walk through all that incredible hardship and then give yourself up. God, thank you for taking on all my bad and giving me all your good. Lord, thank you for your word. God, thanks for making it available to us. So God, please, please, please open up your word. God, not just to me, but to anyone who's taken time to get in it with us. And we ask this in your holy name, Jesus. Amen. All right. So, clear my throat. So day 99, we are in Luke chapter 2, verse 1 through verse 12. And this is a wedding at Cana. So, on the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. And when the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." So this interesting interaction. Adult Jesus, his ministry has begun. She knows that he is capable. And there's no telling, how many miracles might have happened, over the course of his young life, or just things working out. Some other religious traditions write of his miracles while he was in Egypt. The Muslim religion has stories about him as younger guy. But what we can say is that Mary trusted Jesus to do something about this problem. Their family friend, they're having their wedding, and the wine ran out. Okay. Now, a couple notes. It's not grape juice. Okay. Grape juice, pasteurized, non-alcoholic grape juice wasn't invented, I think, until the 1800s. And it was done so by I think it was the Quakers, but don't quote me on that. But the religious people didn't want to drink alcohol, and so a minister, I think, can't remember his name, it might have been Welch's, came up with a way to do that. But anyway, I digress. But the idea of non-alcoholic grape juice is a new thing. Then people also say, well, wine, it was just meant to make the water so, is drinkable. And it didn't go bad. Just enough enough alcohol in there just to make sure that it didn't go bad. Well, if that's the case, then you'd have to drink an awful lot of that, whatever, grape flavored water, wine flavored water to get drunk. And clearly a person could get drunk on wine. Otherwise, it wouldn't say you could. So all these back-bending flips, it's like Neo in the Matrix, dodging bullets. It's like, the fact is that Jesus is at a wedding celebration and they run out of wine and his mom tells him, hey, I need you to do something about this. And he's like, woman, it's not my time. And she's like, looks at the servants and is like, do whatever he tells you. She knows that there is a time happening right now. Okay. So now there were 6 stone water jars there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, fill the jars with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast. So they took it. When the master of the feast tasted the water, now become wine, and did not know from where it came, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom. And he said, everyone serves the good wine first, and when the people have drunk freely, then the poorer wine. But you have kept the good wine until now. This, the first of his signs, Jesus did in Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. And after this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and his brothers and his disciples, and they stayed there a few days. So, they just do in faith, what Mary said, hey, do whatever he says. So they're like, okay, she's in charge. And, clearly not the master of the feast, but behind the scenes, there are people who actually are kind of running the show. And then there are people out up front, making requests and kind of doing some direction. But, behind the scenes, there are people that are kind of running the show. And Mary is one of those people in this situation. Then there are people tasked to accomplish these things that the people behind the show are needing to get done. And Jesus ends up being that person, that servant. And the servants who go to take the water, now wine, to the master of the feast, like, oh, I don't know what he's going to say. They don't know if he's going to be like just free, just irate, right? I don't know if they looked at the wine first. They probably did. I mean, it's not like that they, looked away and, carried it, held it out. But what if it wasn't, it doesn't say they tasted it, so they didn't know. But when the wine shows up to the master of the feast, it's great stuff. This is a Glenlivet whiskey box, and it is an 18, meaning 18 years. And it's one of my favorite Scotch whiskeys. The difference between the 18 and the 15 is pretty significant. And then the 12s and the 10s. It's pretty significant. So when you go from like a 10 or a 12, or even up to a 15, there's just still something that's all about the same. I mean, it does improve in the aroma and the flavor, but it's still sort of in the same category, right? And but when you taste the 18, right, it's like another level. It's really good, at least to me. I enjoy it. And it's, of course, expensive, so I don't get to drink it that often. But, you know, it'd be like serving everybody Coors Light, or, you know, pick your kind of like laid back beer for like a banquet. It's all right, you know, whatever. It's cold, it's crisp, goes good with a burger or whatever you're eating. But it's not profound. And then you get a just an amazingly crafted beer with all kind of nuances and flavor and aroma, and it'd be like drinking some Coors at a wedding, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, bringing in more beer, more wine, we got more whiskey and scotch, you know, and they bring in Glenlivet 18 and, you know, some microbrews that have been imported from, you know, Belgium and you know, the Northwest and whatever. And instead of boxed wine from a Walmart, you know, they bring in some really nice bottles that are like 150, 200 bucks a piece. And so this master of ceremonies is like, this is all on its head. Like, you flip this around to the bridegroom. You normally serve the Coors Light. Like, what's this exotic Belgian beer you're serving? It's amazing, you know. And so I also want to know that he points out that the people have drunk freely. They are more than rosy cheeked, okay? They are 3 sheets to the wind and having a great time. And so the question of, you know, alcohol and in the church, you know, it says, well, don't be drunk with wine, but be filled with the Holy Spirit. Well, yeah, in general, day to day, absolutely. But again, there are opportunities and times for reflection and celebration. Okay. So clearly, this is one of those times, a wedding, celebrating a couple getting together and gonna build a life together. So anyway, and then so this is the first time, at least, that John is telling us is recorded of him manifesting God's glory. That he is actually expressing it, right? And then they, after the wedding, and everybody has a really great time, they all, including Mary, and they all go down to Capernaum, and they stay there for a few days because word gets around. And imagine everybody would be showing up, hey, turn my water to wine. Rolling up with a bottle of a Glenlivet bottle full of just tap water. Lord, you can do something here in 18, maybe a 21 year. But they move on down to Capernaum and spend a few days getting their bearings. So God values moments and events, and he will provide even in celebrations. Again, this isn't like, you know, oh, the city's surrounded and, you know, we need to get word out to get help. And then God opens, you know, a window and they climb down the window and sneak through all the soldiers surrounding the city. They get word to their allies somewhere and they come and they free them. This isn't like some dramatic thing like that. This is God answering a prayer for something that would otherwise just be an embarrassment. It definitely would look bad on the family who is hosting, anyone who is involved in providing for it. But again, it's an extra. In their world, this was a first world problem. And Jesus, God, was willing along with the sensibilities of Mary, to care about their first world problem. If you've got those first world problems, it's okay. Jesus will be there for you in the midst of real crisis. And he'll also be there for you in the midst of, things that would be a bummer if they didn't work out. So don't be afraid to reach out to the Lord about anything. He cares. So anyway, he does. He cares. So, you're running out of donuts at church. Pray that God would provide more donuts at church. Don't be surprised if one of the patrons shows up with a couple boxes of donuts. Kind of get where I'm going? Like, he cares. So let's close. And I'll say this. Keep walking. Keep talking to him. And tomorrow's day 100. God bless. Bye-bye.